What is up, guys, and welcome back to part 30 of my F1 2016 career mode here at the Austrian Grand Prix. If you missed season 1 and of course the first 8 rounds of this second season, then you can click the little card annotation in the top right hand corner of your screens right now to go catch up with everything that happened over season 1 and of course season 2. But we're here at the Austrian Grand Prix. It was a fantastic race for me in season 1. I managed to get my first ever podium at this circuit, so it was a great result, and hopefully we can do something similar to that here today. Maybe get another race win. We haven't actually had one of those since Russia, so we do need to have a race win soon, otherwise the other guys around us in the championship are going to start to overtake us. I mean, Nico Rosberg and Sebastian Vettel are both slowly catching us up, as well as Kimi Räikkönen, who is now 1 point behind us in the championship. But hopefully we can set down a marker and push away from Kimi Räikkönen, now start to really chase this Drivers' World Championship. But let's see how we do as we head into practice.
We're glad you can join us for today's practice session here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. The weather, though, hasn't been good to us today. We have dark skies overhead and a damp track for the drivers to deal with.
So just going over my first couple of laps here in this practice session. It took me quite a while to get used to the track in the wet conditions, but I did manage to do that, and I did manage to get a green score in the track acclimatization. Unfortunately, I could not get a purple one in the rain. It was very, very difficult, and yeah, it was raining pretty much throughout every single practice session. So we really struggled in practice, which was really annoying. And there we go, 22nd on the grid, right to the back of the field. And we didn't really do much running because we were going to skip to practice 2 and practice 3. But both of those ones were raining as well. And we couldn't do the tyre wear management, nor could we do the qualifying pace. So we've actually lost out on a lot of resource points at this race weekend. So we do definitely need to pick it up in the qualifying and the race to make sure that we pick up those resource points that we've lost, because we've lost out on a lot of development at this Austrian Grand Prix. And obviously, if we want to be the best car in Formula 1, we really need to start developing the car properly and make sure that we don't miss out on opportunities like this. But the race weekend is not over, so let's head into qualifying for the Austrian Grand Prix. So before we get into qualifying, we actually have a new rival to compete with after beating Kimi Räikkönen last time out at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It is Nico Rosberg, who's currently 3rd in the driver's standing, so he's a little bit worse than Kimi Räikkönen, but the Mercedes development is now starting to increase, so they are definitely a team to compete with at the championship. So Nico Rosberg, I do expect him to be up there, and hopefully we can beat him in both the rivalry and of course the championship as well.
Thanks for joining us on this Saturday afternoon where qualifying is about to start here in Austria. So sit back and enjoy the afternoon session.
Here we are then for the first qualifying session of the day, and I do reckon we can get out of this qualifying session very easily. We are very quick in a straight line, and Austria is a track that definitely suits cars that are quick in a straight line. I mean, there's only 9 corners around this circuit. 2 of them are high speed, the rest of them are, you know, more traction zones and stuff like that. So I do reckon that this circuit is definitely going to suit to this car's capabilities, and hopefully we can get maybe into the top 3 in qualifying. We're going to wait and see. We're just going to go on track and see how it goes. Here we go then, first lap in this qualifying session, down towards the line, DRS open. What's the time going to be good enough for? It's only good enough for a 1.9420, so it's not the best laps at the moment. We're down in 12th position, just ahead of Valtteri Bottas, who has actually set his lap time on the super soft tyres, and we're actually down into 19th place. We managed to set a lap time that was 3 tenths quicker than our previous best one, a 109.118, and that was good enough for 14th place, and it was actually good enough to get us into Q2 as well. So a good result there in Q1. You know, we did manage to get into Q2, maybe not by the best of margins, although Max Verstappen is down there. However, he did set his time on the super soft, so don't take that into account too much because he was on the worst of tyres. But down in 15th position on ultra soft tyres is a little bit worrying going into Q2. I thought going into this qualifying that we should have the car capable enough to get into Q2 very easy and possibly even challenge for the top 3 in qualifying. But now I'm having a little bit of a reality check, and I think that this qualifying session might actually be very difficult indeed. We're just going to have to see how it goes. So let's head into Q2 and see if we can get into Q3. Here we go then for Q2, coming around the final corner and down towards the line. DRS open for our first lap here in Q2. We're actually deciding to set a couple of laps on the super soft tyres and just see whether we can get the race strategy on all the guys around us in the field. There's our first lap. We run very wide at the end of that one, but we weren't going for a second run. We decided to cool down the lap and then go again for lap 3. So here we are, lap 3, across the line, and it's good enough for 9th position at the moment on the super soft tyres. Whether we stay there or not, I'm not too sure. Hopefully we do, and then we've got the race strategy on all the other guys around us. But we cut ahead to our 4th lap, and unfortunately we're just outside of the drop zone in P11, but we set a lap time that is just over a 10th quicker than our previous best time. Puts us up into 10th place for the time being, and luckily that was good enough to stay in P10. So that means we're in Q3. We are into Q3 for the Austrian Grand Prix, which is fantastic. I wasn't too sure going into this session whether I would be able to do it or not. I didn't really improve too much on my Q1 time, so a lot of the other guys around us not having the best of laps here in this qualifying session. Very, very lucky for us that we did manage to get through, and I am very, very happy about that. Jolyon Palmer also into Q3 as well, but let's see how we do in the top 10 shootout. Right then, the battle for the top 10. Where are we going to qualify in this qualifying session? Down towards the line for our first lap here in Q3. It's a 108.8, our best lap of qualifying so far. And it's good enough for 8th position on the grid for the time being. Here we are for lap 2. So far, 2 tenths quicker. We're losing a little bit of time. We're coming down towards the line. It is an improvement, and it is only good enough for 8th position right at the end of the session. So not a good qualifying session for us. We were hoping for a lot better, but at least we are still in the top 10, and we can definitely improve from that position as the race goes on. So there we are, P8, Jolyon Palmer behind us in P10. Max Verstappen also down in 9th place. He's had some recent good run of races. You know, he got a race win, I think, not in Monaco, in Spain he got a race win. So Max Verstappen is definitely competitive in this season, whereas Daniel Ricciardo hasn't really had the luck. You know, he's had a lot of reliability issues, but he's up in 7th place, so hopefully for him, he can have a good race tomorrow. Danica Kvyat gets on pole position, but not only is he on pole position, it's a 1-2 for Toro Rosso. Carlos Sainz in 2nd place. What a result for the Toro Rosso team. They are doing absolutely amazingly in the research and development race. Sebastian Vettel, he lines up in 3rd with his teammate Kimi Räikkönen alongside him, and then it's Mercedes on the 3rd row with Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg 5th and 6th. Daniel Ricciardo lines up in 7th. I split the 2 Red Bulls in 8th. Then it's Max Verstappen in 9th and Jolyon Palmer in 10th. If I was in 9th place and Max Verstappen was in 8th, it would have gone literally in teams by Toro Rosso, Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, Renault, but we managed to stop that streak. We got up into 8th place. I would have preferred to stop it even further up the field, but 8th place, still a decent result, and hopefully we can push on from there in the race to get some decent points. And without any further ado, let's head over to that race for the Austrian Grand Prix.
Austria, traditional home of many great things. Apple strudel, Mozart, Niki Lauda, oh, and of course, one of the finest high-speed racetracks on the planet. We're right in the thick of the season now, and the championship battle is hotting up. But if there's any race that stands to rip up the form book, it's this one. The Red Bull Ring then, 700 metres above sea level. This tough circuit may only have 9 corners, but they're fast and they're bumpy. It's a true test for any racing driver. We have 2 DRS zones, and watch out for overtakes into turn 2 as the uphill entry helps those trying to be the last of the late breakers steam up the inside. So as we look ahead to what I hope will be a very entertaining race, I have to ask Anthony Davidson what you expect to see in terms of strategy today. I mean, do you expect a lot of tyre management? A lot of fuel management?
Well, don't we always? I don't expect these are going to be any more important than usual, if I'm honest. What I do expect, however, are a lot of drivers getting into the pits early for some kind of undercut on fresh rubber. If you can pit before the person in front, have a good stop and drive a blistering outlap, there may be 1 or 2 seconds to be gained. If anyone gets stuck behind another car, for example, that will be the go-to strategy, surely.
Okay, the run into turn 1 isn't too long, so the pack will be bunched up. Take care.
It's race day here at the Austrian Grand Prix, and what a fantastic race we are in for today. Starting in a pretty good position of P8. It's not the best of qualifying positions that we have had, but P8 is still a pretty solid job, and we do tend to do better in the races than we do in qualifying. So hopefully we can have a pretty decent result here today. Looking at the race strategy as well, starting on the old softs because we have to after qualifying on those guys in Q2. Then deciding to go for the softs on lap 5 and then onto the super softs by the end of the race. Now we're just going to see how tyre wear goes for us. If it's bad, then we might change that strategy to an alt soft and 2 softs, or we might stick with it. But, you know, for now, let's head on track, head out on the formation lap and just get ourselves ready for the start of the race. But with tyre wear is pretty difficult around this circuit. It's not one of the best ones because it's a lot of slow corners, you know. There's a lot of big traction zones. It really eats up the rear tyres. And yeah, we are probably going to struggle quite a bit with tyre wear, especially on those rear tyres. But let's get underway with today's race. As the lights come on, it's 5 red lights. Lights out and away we go for the Austrian Grand Prix, and we're off to a fairly okay start compared to the rest of the other guys. Sebastian Vettel looks like he's got off to a really poor start off the grid, going down into turn 1. Oh, it looks like we've been hit from the rear from someone behind us. Not too sure who that was, but that's lost us a lot of positions at the start of this Austrian Grand Prix, all the way down into 14th place, right behind Fernando Alonso. We've actually had to lift off just a little bit to avoid going into the back of the McLaren, just because we had absolutely nowhere to go. And it looks like the McLaren of Alonso is deciding to take the same line as me, going up the inside of a lot of other guys. Max Verstappen getting caught there on the outside. We get a good drive compared to Fernando Alonso, who got caught on Max Verstappen, and that moves us back up into P10. So 2 places below where we qualified on the grid. But up next for us is our teammate Julian Palmer, and hopefully we can get past him within the next couple of corners. Let's have a look at replay though of what's happened at the start of this race. So, off to an okay start. There you can see a lot of smoke coming off the rears of our car, but that tends to happen anyway. And it was actually our teammate, looks like, yes it was our teammate, Julian Palmer, who gave us a little nick in the rear, but that was enough to put us off our line and actually put us very, very wide off the track. So, a sneaky way of Julian Palmer to gain a position in this race, and we were unfortunately down to 14th place. We made a couple of good overtakes up the inside of all these guys going into turn 2. 2 guys ahead of us that we still need to overtake, and then they managed to get in each other's way, and that opened up a fantastic door for us to get past those guys very, very easily and up into P10. So up next for us is our teammate, and on board with our teammate at the moment. So here's the run down in towards turn 1. Let's just look at the contact between him and myself. Was there enough for any damage? I don't think so. There wasn't really enough there for damage. There was just the tiniest of touches, but it was enough to unsettle my car and push me more over to the left-hand side. I had to run off the edge of the track to avoid a collision. So let's have a look on board with Max Verstappen. How close did he get to the rear of my car? Because obviously we would have been cutting across him. Or he did actually get very, very close there. Good observation from Max Verstappen not to get involved with that battle, but that was very, very close between us two as we're on board with Felipe Massa live at the moment. Back to the live action on board with Massa going down in towards turn 2. He's had an engine failure down in towards turn 3, so his engine has blown up, and that is him out of the race. Very, very disappointing for Felipe Massa. You know, Williams, they did have a good car that was very, very fast in a straight line. That's not really the same in the season at the moment, but he will be very, very disappointed for his race to be over on the second lap of this Austrian Grand Prix. We are right behind Roman Grosjean and Julian Palmer at the moment, going down in towards turn 3. Got DRS on both these guys. Going up the inside. Can we get a double overtake down in towards turn 3? It's side by side with Julian Palmer at the moment. He's holding it there on the left-hand side, going down in towards this fast left-hander. Can we hold it? We've got the job done before we've even got there, and we are up into P8. A great overtake there on our teammate as the engineer wants us to change up our strategy and go onto a set of softs earlier on in the race. But we're going to stick it out. We're going to stick to about lap 5 or lap 6 and then decide to go in the pits. We're following behind Sebastian Vettel at the moment. We've got a good run and we haven't actually got DRS, so that's a great straight line speed that this Renault has got going down into turn 3, and we've got the job done. A lot of slipstream though, that really, really helps. It looks like Ricciardo and Kimi Raikkonen fighting each other there, so very, very good, and that gives us an opportunity to go up the inside in towards this next corner, in towards turn 5, and there we go, job done on Kimi Raikkonen. Got both the Ferraris in the space of 1 lap, and now we are up into P5, so a great start to this Austrian Grand Prix despite having that little nick earlier on. Now we're following behind Daniel Ricciardo. Looks like there is a drive in the pits. It's Danny Kvyat, the guy who was actually leading the race. The leader has come into the pits on lap 5. We should be coming into the pits on maybe this lap, on the next one. The team wants to come in on this lap, and I think I am going to go for that on lap. The tyres at the moment on 52%, so I think it would be a good idea to go for that sort of strategy as we're on board with this cluster of cars going down in towards turn 4. It's literally 2 by 2 at the moment going down in towards turn 2, and Roman Grosjean trying a little move round the outside on the Red Bull of Daniel Ricciardo, and do you know what? I think he's actually got the job done. A great drive out of that corner. He's got very, very fast in a straight line, and I think he's got the job done on Daniel Ricciardo, but no, Daniel Ricciardo comes back up the inside, and can he get the Ferrari as well? Yes, he can. Daniel Ricciardo gets in the Ferrari. The Ferrari gives Haas a little nick there. He then drives into Valtteri Bottas. So much going on. Oh my word. Sergio Perez. What on earth has happened in the space of a couple of moments? Nico Hulkenberg also out of the race. Valtteri Bottas carries on like nothing has happened, and rightfully so, a safety car has been deployed in this Austrian Grand Prix just to slow everything down, and I really need that. That was so much stuff happening in the space of a matter of seconds. I just could not keep up through there. That was so quick, but yeah, we're deciding to come into the pits, get a new set of soft tyres, because the safety car's out, so we kind of get a free pit stop on everyone else. There are a few guys changing up the strategy. I think the guys who are starting on the soft tyres have got a really good chance in this race, so especially some of the back markers have got a really good chance in this race, so do expect to see some of those guys up the front straight after the safety car. Whether they carry on there, I don't think so, but you never know what will happen in this race, and we're exiting the pits. We're quite down the field because a lot of guys actually not deciding to come into the pits, but it looks like Danny Kvyat has got back past us. And whereabouts are we? We're in 6th place. No, we're on lap 6. We're in 16th place. Okay, so that's not too bad. 16th place in this race. It's still pretty decent, especially as a lot of the guys ahead of us are going to pits. But let's have a look on board with Roman Grosjean. So Ricciardo goes up the inside. He gets a little nick there from the Ferrari driver, drives into Valtteri Bottas's path, and just carries on like nothing has happened in his race. On board with Valtteri Bottas at the moment, going down in towards turn 3. Now, this is the big contact that we want to see. The Haas comes into the path of Valtteri Bottas. He gets a front right puncher. He comes straight back onto the track, and whoa! Sergio Perez just flies in front of Valtteri Bottas, and then he crashes with the Force India, the other Force India of Nico Hülkenberg. So both Force Indias are out this race on lap 5. Now, this is what we want to see. Sergio Perez going into Valtteri Bottas and just gets so much airtime put into the gravel, and that is one way to end a race. You know, if you're going to crash out, at least do it in style like Sergio Perez did there. He's on board with Nico Hülkenberg. You can see the other Force India flying in the distance, and then he just drives. He literally has nowhere to go. I mean, he should have slowed down. He shouldn't have just gone full pelt into Valtteri Bottas, but he didn't really have anywhere to go and just goes straight into the back of Valtteri Bottas. Another view on board with Sergio Perez this time, and there's a Force India just flying across our screens. And wow, that is definitely one way. In slow motion now, Sergio Perez does a flip, does a couple of spins in the air, comes back down to earth, and then Nico Hülkenberg goes into the back of Valtteri Bottas. We definitely needed that slowed down because that happened so quickly. But here we are, cutting back to the action. A lot of guys actually coming into the pits at the moment, so not the best of the time to come into the pits now the whole field has been bunched up. But nevertheless, we're going to move up into 12th position in this race, ahead of all the guys who have just pitted, and pretty good to get past all these guys. Then we made a little bit of a mistake. I thought the green line was a lot early because I remember last year I could push on a lot earlier on in the race because I was actually leading when the safety car came in, and that's why I thought I could go and get past Daniel Ricciardo and get a little bit of a, you know, a tactical pass past him, but that didn't actually work, and yeah, we had to give the position back. And then we actually lost out quite a bit on Daniel Ricciardo. We have a little look up the inside, down in towards turn 1, but we unfortunately just can't get enough of our front nose in there. And then that puts us under pressure from the Ferrari of Kimi Räikkönen. He's definitely looking maybe to try and move down in towards turn 2, but we should catch up to Daniel Ricciardo in the braking zone, which we do. And we actually have the opportunity to go up the inside of the Red Bull driver, which we do. We give him enough room on the outside as well, but he just doesn't have the drive, doesn't have the acceleration that we have in this Renault. And we have a good opportunity to get past Danny Kvyat as well, down in towards turn 3. Can we get the job done under braking, maybe around the outside? There's a little bit of contact between the two of us. I probably could have given him a bit more room. He could have given me a little bit more room as well. But side by side still with Danny Kvyat in towards his left-hander, but unfortunately we're just not quite good enough under braking. But can we hold it around the outside? Not quite through there, and Danny Kvyat holds on to 10th place and pretty much the lead of this race. He was leading the race when he came into the pits, so I'm pretty sure he's still leading the race technically at the moment. We have a little look up the inside. There's a little bit of tyre bang between the two of us, but we just about managed to make the corner, and there's no damage to Danny Kvyat's car, and I don't feel like I lost him out too much time, so I'm not going to give the position back to him. Then I have a great straight line speed up the inside of all these guys, under braking as well, and job done on Nico Rosberg and the Sauber of Felipe Nasr, I believe it was. And now that puts us up into 8th position in this race, and right behind the manor of Pascal Wehrlein, who's doing a fantastic job to be in 7th position at the moment. Now I'm behind this cluster of cars going down in towards turn 2. Purple through sector 1 at the moment, up the inside of Esteban Gutierrez, I believe it is. Yes, it is. Esteban Gutierrez and Pascal Wehrlein. DRS open, lose the back end quite a bit out of traction of turn 2. That gives Esteban Gutierrez a little look to the left-hand side, but he decides against it, and that is how we get into P6 in this race. And now we are right behind the two McLarens who look like they're battling it out. So that's really good news for us. They can battle out as much as they want, and that can give us maybe an easy move past both these guys. Slipstream and DRS going down the start-finish rate, down in towards turn 1. Can we get the job done on Fernando Alonso? Yes, we can. Can we get Jenson Button as well? Side by side into turn 1, holding the inside line. He's holding it on the outside. It's still side by side between the two of us. Still side by side going down into turn 2. And now that straight line speed from our Renault-powered engine is so much better than the Honda. And there we go, up into P3. And guess who is in second place in this race? Rio Haryanto is doing an amazing job to be in second place in this Austrian Grand Prix. And he's legitimately in second place at the moment. You know, it's a fantastic result for Manor right now. But we get the job done on him. You know, we're much faster in a straight line compared to that Manor up the left-hand side. And that's how we get into second place. And leading the race at the moment is the other Toro Rosso of Carlos Sainz. So the Toro Rosso have done some really good upgrades, and it's really showing. I mean, they had a 1-2 in qualifying, and they were having a 1-2 in the race, but Danny Kvyat pitting early on. I think Sainz might have gone for a different tyre strategy, or the safety car may have really helped him out. But we lose the back end coming out of turn 1, still losing the back end all over the place, and that gives Rio Haryanto a good run on us down in towards turn 2. I think he is actually going to get the job done, which he does. Oh, he gives us a little nick there on the on our front right. Luckily, it doesn't put us into a wall, gets us any damage, but yeah, a little bit weird there from Rio Haryanto just to give us a little nick, but we're following in the slipstream, and we have the DRS down in towards turn 3, and it's a fairly easy move with both DRS and slipstream that we get the job done round the outside in towards turn 3. He's still holding it though, Rio Haryanto, so fair play to him for holding it on the inside. We're trying to still make it round the outside. I think there we go, job done on the Manor driver, and we are up into P2 in this Austrian Grand Prix. Up next for us once again is Carlos Sainz, who is leading the race at the moment, so we will be looking to try and get past him very, very soon. But here we are on a lap 20, and are we coming in for our second pit stop? Yes, we are. So, second pit stop in this Austrian Grand Prix. Our tyres not quite lasting as long as we were hoping for, so that does mean that we're going to have to go on to another set of soft tyres. So, I mean, it's not too bad. It's not the end of the world. But we're not exactly going to be as quick compared to some of the other guys who will be going on to super softs or maybe even ultra softs at the end of the race, just depending on how long they can make their soft tyres last. Obviously, the safety car came out, so that helped a lot of the air, and it did help me out quite a bit as well, just to sort of conserve my tyres, but unfortunately, just wasn't enough so that we could possibly go on to super softs or ultra softs. But, you know, that's just going to have to do for now, and we're coming out just behind a Sauber. Is he lapped at the moment, or is that a battle for position? I think it is actually a battle for position. We're following behind Felipe Nasr at the moment, going down in towards turn 2. And hopefully we could possibly get the move done on him down this next straight. I mean, we're so much quicker in a straight line. Sauber are, I think, the worst team on the grid at the moment. Here we are following behind Felipe Nasr, going down in towards turn 3. Currently in 13th position in this Austrian Grand Prix on lap 21. So, 15 laps left to go in the race. Our engine is looking a little bit warm, but that happens in every single race. They're coming a little bit earlier, though, on lap 21, so that's a little bit disappointing, and it's going to harm us a little bit on these straights. But we're having a look up the inside of Felipe Nasr, and so much better traction due to these newer tyres. And there we go, job done up the inside of Felipe Nasr, up into P12. And up next for us is Roman Grosjean, who looks like he's batting it out with our teammate. And there's actually a huge train of cars up ahead of us going down in towards turn 2. They're all battling each other at the moment. That's fantastic news for us. They can battle each other as much as they want, because that means that I can get easy moves on these guys. An easy move there on Roman Grosjean. Up next for me is Jolyon Palmer, who's currently in 10th position in this Austrian Grand Prix. He needs to do better than that. Come on, Jolyon. You can get some decent points. We've got a very, very fast car around this Austrian Grand Prix. I mean, I'm just showing that now by how quick I am around this circuit. And we are following right behind Jolyon Palmer. Can we have a look in towards this left-hander like we did on Felipe Nasr? We're definitely going to try it. Up the inside. Not quite done it yet. Maybe have to go up the inside. This next one. Oh, a little bit of tyre bang between the two of us. Jolyon Palmer not really giving us the room on the inside. We give him enough room on the inside there. Going down into the last two corners now. Who's going to come out on top? Who's going to break the latest? It doesn't help that there's a lot of guys coming into the pits at the moment. That really holds up Jolyon Palmer, and it's an easy move because of those guys coming into pits, and that means that I'm going to be up into 6th position in this Austrian Grand Prix thanks to all those guys pitting. It's even more, it's up into 3rd thanks to a lot of other guys. Rio Haryanto still in 2nd place, so he's doing an absolutely amazing job for Manor to still be in 2nd place in this Austrian Grand Prix. He is brilliant in this race. How on earth he has got that Manor into 2nd place, I just don't know. He is an actual god Rio Haryanto. But at the moment, he has come into the pits. So is Carlos Sainz. So going down in towards turn 1. Who's going to come out on top? Carlos Sainz is there on the right-hand side. We've got the job done. We are into the lead of this Austrian Grand Prix. But we do need to be aware he is on faster super soft tyres. So it's going to be a lot of defending if we want to hold on to the lead of the race. Can we do it? We're just going to have to wait and see as this race develops. But we are definitely going to try and hold on to the lead of the race and hold off Carlos Sainz for the time being. But there's still a long way left to go in this race. 10 laps, over 10 laps left to go in this Austrian Grand Prix. And now we have Carlos Sainz right at our tail as we go through the final corner. Carlos Sainz will definitely be looking to go for an overtake. And here he goes on the right-hand side, going down in towards turn 1. Can we do anything to defend against the Toro Rosso driver? Going down in towards turn 1, we take a good line. That puts us right on the tail of Carlos Sainz. Just look how close we are to the rear of the Toro Rosso driver. Moving over to the left-hand side. Surely, yes, we do. We get it a little bit on the grass, lose the back end quite a bit. Nearly actually go into the side of Carlos Sainz. Kind of a replica of what Sebastian Vettel did against Jenson Button in the 2010 Belgian Grand Prix. But going down in towards turn 3 now, following in the slipstream and the DRS of Carlos Sainz. Can we get the job done in towards turn 3? We're certainly going to have a look up the inside into this corner, side by side with the two of us. We squeeze him out on the outside, but give him just about enough room, and then he swoops around the outside, gets the job done for the time being. And I don't think we're going to have anything to defend if we run very, very wide into turn 5. And that allows Nico Rosberg to have a look up the inside. But unfortunately, there's just not enough room for him to get past there. But now he is right on my tail going down in towards turn 2. He moves over to the left-hand side, similar to what I tried to do on Carlos Sainz on the previous lap. Going round this right-hander now. Nico Rosberg having a look out around the outside. I'm squeezing him out on the left-hand side there. He's going to have slipstream. He's going to have DRS down in towards turn 3. Can he hold it around the outside, though? That is the question. He's on the outside at the moment, going around the outside of turn 3, side by side, squeezing him out as much as I possibly can. You know, but he doesn't give up there, does Nico Rosberg. Still on the inside now of turn 5, and there he goes, gets the job done. Similar to what Carlos Sainz did, and I was just a little bit poor through turn 5 once again, just not getting the car quite turned in as much as I should have done. And now unfortunately I've lost second place in this race, and now we are under pressure from the other Toro Rosso driver of Danny Kvyat, running it a little bit wide in towards the penultimate corner, and that allows Danny Kvyat to have an excellent run down in towards turn 1. And we just decided to break a little bit earlier, try a cutback move, and it works. A great move up the inside of Danny Kvyat, just breaking a little bit early. The best way to defend is attack, and that is exactly what we did there against Danny Kvyat. Braked a little bit early into that corner and then got the power down as early as we possibly could. Got a good drive on Danny Kvyat and got back up into third place. We are not giving up on a podium in this race, but then we make a huge mistake out of the penultimate corner, running it wide, getting on the grass, and that is an easy move and a disastrous mistake in this Austrian Grand Prix, especially as all the guys ahead of us, Carlos Sainz and Nico Rosberg, have just come into the pits in this Austrian Grand Prix. That means Danny Kvyat is now leading this race. Hopefully he comes into the pits as well, but unfortunately he does not. But we are going to come round the last couple of corners now. This is the final lap of this Austrian Grand Prix. It's been a well fought from 8th on the grid, getting that nick from our teammate Jolyon Palmer very, very early on to be down in 14th position, to get back now to second place. But the man of the race is this guy. It's Rio Haryanto, who's managed to get his undeveloped manner up into the podium. What an absolute surprise of a result there for Rio Haryanto. But nevertheless, we come round the final corner to take a fantastic second position in this Austrian Grand Prix.
Good job, you did really well. Super driving.
A great win then for the Toro Rosso team today. Tell me, Ant, what was the key to this success?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
And look at this, they're coming out now. Toro Rosso have developed something of a reputation for forging exciting talent, and we can see that here. An incredible victory.
What an amazing race there at the Austrian Grand Prix. It had everything. It had huge crashes with Sergio Perez, Nico Hülkenberg going out early on. It had surprise podiums with a Toro Rosso, a Renault, a Manor, all on the podium. And that Manor is undeveloped. I mean, the Toro Rosso and the Renault are one of the best teams in Formula 1 at the moment with Mercedes and Ferrari. But that Manor is like the third worst team on the grid at the moment. To be up into third is a fantastic job there from Rio Haryanto. How on earth he did it, I do not know. But Danny Kvyat, he goes on to get his second race win in a row. So a fantastic result for him, and he could possibly be challenging for the championship if he keeps up results like those. We finished in second. It's a good race result for us. It means that we extend our lead in the championship. Rio Haryanto with an amazing third position on the grid. Nico Rosberg, he finished in fourth with Carlos Sainz in fifth. Pascal Wehrlein also getting some good points in this race. Sixth position. So the Manners are doing an amazing job in this Austrian Grand Prix. Jenson Button, he finished in seventh. Kimi Räikkönen, my rival, my championship rival, finishing in eighth. Daniel Ricciardo in ninth, and Max Verstappen rounds out the top 10 and gets the final championship points. Sebastian Vettel down in 11th place, missing out on points. Lewis Hamilton in 14th. My teammate Jolyon Palmer somehow down in 15th. Disappointing result for him there. And then we have the guys who did not finish. Nico Hülkenberg, Sergio Perez in that collision with Valtteri Bottas, and of course Felipe Massa, who had that engine failure early on. Let's have a look at how this affects us in the drivers' standings then. And we are currently still leading the way, 15 points ahead of Kimi Räikkönen at the moment. So we are having a really, really good season, and today's race just helps us extend that lead over Kimi Räikkönen. Now we're coming to that stage where we will start to think about the championship. I mean, when we get to about Belgium or Singapore, we will definitely start to think about the championship and really start to drive for that. But for now, we're more focused on the constructors to try and get as many points as possible for Renault, try and develop the car as much as we possibly can, and see where this will take us. But it's doing a fantastic job for us at the moment, getting us right up there at the front of the field and battling for race wins and podiums as well. But looking down the grid, I mean, no one else has really made any gains. I mean, Danny Kvyat is the only driver who has made decent gains. He's now on 75 points and 5th position. So that's a really good result for him in the championship. And if he does have more races, you know, I will expect him to be up there battling for the championship. But let's have a look at how it affects us in the constructors. And taking a look at the constructors' standings, the gap is now 1 point over Ferrari. We've now re-overtaken them, 205, and they are on 204. So it is very, very close between our two teams. And do expect Toro Rosso and possibly Mercedes to get involved as well. Toro Rosso are really starting to come into it. They're doing sort of what Ferrari did last season, where they sort of came to it towards the end. Ferrari were nowhere near the pace of Mercedes at the beginning of the season. Mercedes had a huge lead over them. Then they really started their development and they really caught up. They won both championships by a long haul. I mean, Sebastian Vettel won that championship by loads. So Toro Rosso can definitely do that in this season, and I hope that they do. But that is it for today's Austrian Grand Prix. Let's head back to the menus. So just taking a look at our first rivalry update against Nico Rosberg, and we got the race results against him. However, he got the fastest lap against us. That means he actually gets more points than us in this race, which is a little bit unfortunate. It's now 12-7 after that race. Looking at the resource points, so we have 1,515 resource points. We said at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix that we were going to upgrade our engine power, and then we were a little bit unsure. Do we upgrade our engine power or do we upgrade our chassis weight? Our chassis weight it does give us huge improvements on the vehicle performance over the other guys like Mercedes and Ferrari, and definitely Toro Rosso as well, because they are a team to watch out for. So we do need to make sure that we stay ahead of all of those guys. And yeah, chassis weight does definitely do a good job for us, but we said we were going to upgrade engine power, especially with the races that are coming up. You know, we've got Germany, we've got Belgium, we've got Italy as well. Those power tracks are going to be really, really important. And once we've got past those guys, then we will start to focus more on the downforce and chassis weight as well. I mean, chassis weight does help with the acceleration, so it does help on straight line speed tracks. But yeah, we will definitely start to focus on downforce after Italy. But that is it for today's Austrian Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash that like button. Also, subscribe to my channel if you are new around here. We're going to have this career mode coming to you every single day for the whole of Season 2. And then for Season 3, it's going to dial down a little bit. But we're not going to think about that too much for now. We're not even halfway through the second season. So yeah, if you are subscribed to my channel, then you never have to miss an episode from me. And yeah, you can just join me for this journey of this career mode, and it's going really, really well at the moment. I mean, just look at that season. A second in Australia, 3 wins, another second here in Austria, and a few... Okay, we had a bad race in Spain with that 22nd, but 2 5th places, Monaco, Canada, and a 7th place in Azerbaijan, which I do feel I probably should have got a better race result. But I'm starting to ramble on now, so I will see you next time at the British Grand Prix, but until then, it's goodbye from me.